Walker Zimmerman is a fixture for the Nashville Soccer Club, twice awarded Major League Soccer Defender of the Year and a recent U.S. Men's World Cup participant. The global player and captain remains grassroots grounded, knowing this same feat carrying his career also foot him a focused purpose, both on the field and beyond. You're not long off that World Cup experience. The attention of that tournament, does it spoil you?
A little bit. You know, I had heard prior to going to this World Cup about like a World Cup slump and how you kind of get back and you're like, oh, it's just another game. And the World Cup is the pinnacle of our sport. You're representing your country on the biggest stage. The temptation of it is real, to relax a little bit, take your foot off the gas. I'm trying my best to stay focused and making sure that each game is still, of the utmost importance.
Why do you think this sport provokes global passion?
The commonality that every single person is capable of playing this sport. It brings people together here in our cities, and the inner cities, can be in villages across the world. You just got to get something that resembles a ball, something that resembles a goal, put people out on the field and let them run around and let them compete. The accessibility increases its popularity.
The margin of difference between hand-eye and foot-eye coordination?
It's huge. Having debates all the time with friends growing up who didn't play soccer, but I played on the other sports teams with them. Football team, I can fit in. You come out on a soccer field, you're going to be sticking out. It's not easy.
The diversity, internationality. Just take the roster of guys that you're working with this season. What do you learn from them?
They bring so much joy into the locker room with their different cultures, different backgrounds, oftentimes different languages. You can almost tell what their nationality is based on how they play because it's so ingrained in them from an early age. You see that within players' personalities, and it's a really cool thing to kind of put it all into one team.
Isaiah 52:7 on your Twitter. How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of him who brings good news, who proclaims salvation. So Walker, how do your feet bring that to your profession?
Yeah. I think that verse in particular always stuck out to me when I was really young, and I highlighted it. It was the connection between soccer and the gospel. To use the platform that God's given me with professional soccer to glorify his name, and I get to play on a beautiful field using my feet to speak about him and honor him.
As two-time MLS Defender of the Year, what is your primary responsibility?
How can we get a shutout every single game? How can we let in the least goals against us? The nature of our club, our identity. We take a lot of pride in our defense. You got to see things before they happen. That's how you're going to get the advantage over the attacking player. So anticipation is a huge part of being a defender. And so, yeah, priority number one, defend.
And Walker, then as a defender, you've got like the franchise's first goal. What prompts your offensive?
The belief that anytime I'm up on a set piece, anytime I'm up in the run of play, that if the ball comes to me, I'm gonna put it in the back of the net. And I think having that mentality, you're attacking it faster, you're committed to the movement that you're gonna make, committed to the jump that you're gonna make, and yeah, I think it starts with desire.
6'3" height, that helps?
That helps.
God's natural gift for the headers?
Yeah, the height definitely helps as a center back, as an attacking set-piece threat, and certainly the timing of jumping and trying to reach the ball at its highest point and getting that power on it.
Height and hair, you're referred to as Thor. So how much power, how much finesse to your game?
You have to have both. You can't just run out there and just be super physical and not have the touch. It's definitely a combination of the two, something that you have to kind of consistently work on, the power, your technique, and your finesse, and become a more well-rounded player. Having that desire to win no matter what the game is. The core of who I am, it's being competitive.
Walker, do you think you're born with that, or do you think over time you pick up things that help drive you?
I think it's both. To think about the word destiny and, how I think God created me to be, and it's honoring him with the gifts that he's given me, is that competitiveness and that desire. And sure, it's definitely been cultivated over time, but I'd like to think that that was a part of my personality that he saw before I was formed in the womb.
How is Jesus Christ a competitor?
He knew his mission on earth. And whatever we do, we're doing it for the glory of God. I think no one embodied that better than Jesus. From the time he was born to the cross, we see that from him. So definitely, an ultimate competitor.
You've been the captain on multiple teams. Walker, what do you find to be the most undervalued quality to remarkable leadership?
It's probably servanthood for me, or listening. Sometimes you can lead by just letting people be the full version of themselves, like come alongside of them, rather than always have to be leading. but it's having the balance of trust me, follow me, and then you're right, let's do it your way. That takes a lot of humility, and I'm still learning and want to keep implementing in my captaincy.
So your dad a pastor, your mom now an author.
Yeah, my mom has been probably the biggest influence on my faith. She went on this whole soccer journey with me. It's called Play On, fictionalized story about my soccer and faith journey, taking you behind the scenes of my soccer story growing up and probe and ask the questions from a kid's perspective about who is God and what does this mean, and allowing the kid to grow up and learn more about who Jesus is.
What have you found as most inspiring and maybe even surprising about God in your journey?
His love for me is constant. It's always there. And my identity is in Christ. It's not on whether I had a good game or a bad game, because you're always fighting for your spot. He loves me for me and not based on my performance is a freeing thought to have as a pro athlete.